Ireland Meet the Members series. For those of you who've joined us before, you have a fair idea that we just talked to our members a little bit about their JCI journeys, where we hear how JCI has helped them in both their professional and personal lives. And it's always great with every member, you hear different stories and different examples of things they've done since joining JCI. So I'm thrilled to be joined this evening by a fellow JCI Mayo member. He's the local president this year, and we have Keelan joining us this evening. Welcome, Keelan.
Thanks very much, Anya. How's all with you?
All is good. Getting over the bad weather that we had last week and getting back out and about again, thankfully.
That's it. You didn't slip anywhere. You're still on 2 feet.
Thankfully, yes. I didn't go too far. I think I was in front of this camera quite a lot last week, so that kept me busy. So, Keelan, I've known you a few years now, but for those of us who don't, tell them a little bit about how you first heard about JCI.
Yeah, I suppose it goes back, must be 5 or 6 years ago now that the TOIP is how I first heard about JCI. I was nominated for a TOIP award for my community work and work involved with politics and that side of things. I think it was actually Charlotte Murray that put in the nomination at the time, so she can take the credit or the blame for me being involved, whichever way you want to look at it. But I suppose I was involved in that. I suppose seeing the people that were involved there, organising the event, but the kind of the other people that were recognised and that type of event and that kind of, I suppose that feel good type of event and the atmosphere that's in the room. That night, you really left feeling that accomplished, I suppose. And I suppose since then I kept in touch with JCI and eventually I was brought into the fold in JCI Mayo, and I suppose here I am now as the local president in Mayo. Sorry, Anya, I have no sound there.
Sorry now about that. So for those of you who might not have heard of TOIP before, it stands for the 10 Outstanding Young Persons. So it's a JCI awards that we have. There's 10 different categories, and we start off in our local organisations, and then the winners from there get put forward to the national, and then our national winners then get put forward to the world awards as well. So we've been quite lucky in JCI Ireland. We've had a lot of incredible and really outstanding people with incredible stories, both locally and nationally. And even there, I think it was 2 years ago, we had a JCI Ireland winner at World who was actually a TOIP nominee as well. So in Mayo. So that's kind of what the TOIP awards are. And it's definitely something that I know the Mayo members are really, really passionate about. So that's how you heard about JCI. But with JCI, I know TOIP was kind of how you came in, and that comes under our community pillar. But we also do a lot under business, international, with it being an international organisation and individual. What was it after the TOIP awards, after you kind of stayed in touch with JCI, that actually made you think, okay, I want to join, I want to become a member now? What inspired you?
Yeah, I think it was. I suppose it kind of the time worked out well closely after that. I suppose we had the national convention in Westport. It was close to home. It was a great opportunity to get to know the national organisation more so than the local organisation. I think going to those kind of things, the trainings that were on over the weekend, you know what I mean, the learnings that you can bring into your personal life but your professional life as well, you know, whether it be to do with networking, whether it's your social media, you're keeping your LinkedIn page up to date, simple things like that. But the other side of it, of course, it's the people, you know, any organization is made by the people, and you know, meeting the people and seeing everyone's kind of I don't know, enthusiasm, I suppose, for the aims and the goals of the organisation. When you talk about, you know, individual, community, business, international, like they're great buzzwords, but you actually see it in practice that the people in JCI really, they when you talk about that they can all refer back to, if not more than one event where they can say, oh, I was off at an international conference, or I did a training the last day on, I don't know, report writing or whatever it was for work, and it all comes back. So I think really the two big things about JCI that really stand out for me is those trainings and those networking opportunities that make that work in your personal life, but also in your professional life. All those people that you meet, they all have different skills, different networks of their own, different knowledge that you can feed off and bring back. But also just the people themselves, and that I suppose that that group there that just always seem to have that enthusiasm, that drive, that want, I suppose, to achieve more, and JCI really encourages that, I suppose, empowers that, and really gives everyone that opportunity to, whatever way you come in, you're going to come out of it that little bit better, that little bit stronger.
That's actually a really nice way to put it. But yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think the one great thing about this series is everyone you talk to, everyone joined. They all heard about it different ways. They joined for different reasons, but everybody does agree. Kind of the more you put into it, the more you get out of it, across all four areas. And it's definitely kind of one of those supportive networks where everyone's there kind of to help you develop yourself, improve, areas where you might not be so confident, to gain that confidence. And then like that, then you can kind of transfer your skills that you have across to other people. So it's that great learn by doing attitude. And the more you get involved, I suppose, as you said, professionally and personally, then the more you get out of it.
And you see it over the years as well. Actually, some of like the people that kind of come in at the start were maybe the shy ones at the start and who wanted to learn, and a couple of years later, all of a sudden they're the ones standing up at the top of the room, giving the trainings or passing on what they've learned. You're probably one of the best examples yourself, Anya. But like that's the way that JCI works. Like you might come in that way, but as I said, once you get to know the people, it's that safe, supportive environment that no one feels out of place trying something different or trying something new, and you're encouraged to do it, and you come out of it almost, the expert standing up in front, if you like, as opposed to the shy person learning that came in at the very first day.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And like that kind of, as you mentioned with me, when I first learned about it, I could barely, like, I did make a friend come with me to the first event. I was so shy, and like that, even to stand up and say, "Hi, my name's Anya, I'm from Newport," was very intimidating to me. And now I'm just kind of doing these live streams, and I don't give it a second thought anymore. So it really is, as we say, it's development going through the stages. Keelan, I've attended a lot of events with you over the years since you first got introduced to JCI. And as you said, there's so many opportunities, not only locally but nationally and internationally. What's one kind of key experience that stood out for you since you first became aware of JCI?
Um, you could pick any amount of them, I suppose. Like every event brings its own learnings and its own benefits. I suppose the obvious one to pick is back at the start. I think one of the first events was that national convention in Westport, and just meeting the people, and between the new people, the experienced people, and just seeing how everyone mixed, and it didn't matter if you were there 20, if you're a senator who's there 20, 30 years, or if you're there your first year, everyone is the same, and everyone just gets on with each other. But I suppose if you want to talk about a key experience in between yourself and Charlotte Murray again, you can take the credit or blame for it. I remember my very first event, I was told, "Keelan, here you go, you're the MC, you're in charge for the night." Kind of thrown in a bit at the deep end. I think it was I can't remember. It was to do with was it environmental or something around the environment, or we were have an environmental talk, and we had a couple of public representatives, a couple of environmental experts in that, and actually it was a really well attended event. It was one of those events that got a lot of debate, a lot of discussion. At times it was a little bit difficult, I suppose, to manage the debate, the discussion. It was good to have it, but trying to keep the time and make sure we're not there all night. But I suppose it's that kind of thing that JCI does, where if they think you're fit for it, off you go, and do it. And do you know what? If it doesn't work for you, it's not a problem. We'll work on it, and it'll be better the next time. Now look, I had that little bit of experience of public speaking before I came in. I was probably a bit more comfortable with it, but for newer members, like, it's the exact same thing. You'd have someone there beside you, guiding you along with you. But I think that's really where I learned that JCI was very much, we push, I won't say push you, encourage you to really go out and make the best of whatever situation or event, and get your name out there a little bit. Um, take the learnings from it as well. As with any event, nothing ever goes perfectly, no matter how well planned or how well how long you spend trying to put everything together perfectly. But that I think that was really coming in at the start, and again, as I say, it just shows that JCI is very much about giving everyone the opportunity. It's not, as I say, I was in new, and I got the opportunity to do that straight off. It wasn't, kind of Keelan, you sit back and watch for the first couple of months and see what we do. It was very much, once you're in, you're learning from the very start, you're developing from the very start, and you're meeting the people from the very start.
Yeah, I do remember that event. I think it was a climate change talk, all right. But we did know that you had that public speaking experience behind you. We wouldn't normally throw somebody in that quickly, but I think you were actually more confident than the other two of us put together with the public speaking back then. So we knew that that wasn't going to be a challenge to you. But you rose to the occasion, you took it on board, and as I said, there was a healthy debate, and you handled it really well. So it was good to kind of see you jump in. That public speaking wasn't why you joined JCI, because you already had that experience. Whereas for someone like me, it was why I joined JCI. So it was great to see kind of how you did jump in. But completely agree. There's always somebody there to help you. We call it like the gentle nudge or the gentle push, but we kind of know people's boundaries and you're not pushed out of it. So, for example, for me, I kind of slowly got encouraged to just introduce a speaker at the beginning of an event. And I used to be there with their bio, and my hands would be like that trembling, just to say 3 or 4 sentences about a person in front of a room of maybe 20 people. But then you slowly kind of get pushed just slightly out of your comfort zone, that's what's helping develop your skills in public speaking or in leadership, whatever the project or event might be. That's how we kind of help people develop their confidence and their skills. And it's always, as you said, things will go wrong, but it's that kind of environment that's a safe space for things to go wrong. I think you would have found that over the years as well. That's kind of sometimes you get the best learnings from making mistakes. And that's how you learn, then you push forward. I don't know if you'd agree with that one from your experiences.
Oh yeah, definitely. Look, it's never what's the saying, if you it's you don't do something wrong, you learn. Do you know what I mean? It's not nothing is just wrong. Basically, there's always something coming out of it. And I think what we find as well, again with JCI, is it's those, when something does go wrong, there's no big major panic around the place. Everyone just kind of knows to take that deep breath and look, these things happen. And if I'm up on stage and all of a sudden the sound goes down, or the whatever, the slideshow wasn't working, it's just we make it work one way or another between the group. And as we say, it's never one person running the show on their own with JCI. There's always a group of people there to support you. And the other side of it is as well, like, I think we know as well that some people just aren't confident doing certain stuff, and if it's not for you, it's not for you, and we're not going to push you into doing something you're comfortable with. Like, there's some people who are just the most amazing planners or event managers that you'll ever meet. They mightn't necessarily be the person up on the stage, but without those people, the event, it never gets off the ground in the first place. And for some people, it's just kind of fine tuning those skills, and that's what they take from JCI. For other people, it's even sitting at the registration desk, and just getting to network with people and saying hi, how are you, and getting those contacts. I think it's the best way to meet people, is sitting at that front desk and getting to see everyone coming in. And again, you mightn't be comfortable standing up in front of 50 people on a stage, but you're quite happy to sit there and introduce yourself to everyone and get everyone's name and figure out and give them that welcome. So it's always one of those where, look, if there's something you're not confident with, we will try and encourage you a little bit to go outside your comfort zone. But if you don't want to do it, you're not going to be forced into doing something either. And there's plenty of other jobs outside of standing at the front of the room, as you say, and making the big speeches and giving the big presentations that really, without the event managers, your registration desks, I don't know, so someone who's cooking the cakes for the for the bit of a do afterwards. Without those people, these events they're not the memorable experience that you want afterwards.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And even I've seen it in JCI with people that are extremely introverted, and getting them to kind of say, okay, I'll do the registration desk. It's a huge achievement for them. But they slowly then, from doing a registration desk once a month, maybe for 3 or 4 months, get more and more confident on just saying hello to someone. So you can just see how people, when people join as a new member, within the space of a few months, if they just take these small little things, but that are massive to them, but still small steps built on it, then you can see the transformation over the space of a few months. And it really is incredible to watch. I know I really enjoy whenever new members join, just watching that journey really that they go on. It's incredible. And as you said, nobody sets out to fail. Of course, we don't want things to go wrong, but it's life and it's a voluntary organization. And, we're aged 18 to 40, so we're all really busy in our personal lives and our careers. So it's a case of, not everything's going to be perfect, but you always know that there's somebody else there that's going to support you or help you. And that's the full idea behind it. So you mentioned a few trainings that you attended. I know the convention was one that really stood out to you. Some of the trainings that happened at the National Convention in Westport, and I think that was 2019. But I know that you've attended a lot of trainings, especially you joined before the pandemic, so you got to kind of see JCI before that, and then during the pandemic, you were able to take part in a lot of different events all over the world. And I think it really opened it up to some people who had never gone to an international conference before, just how big JCI really is, that it's not just us here kind of in Mayo or us here in Ireland. So for you, what training, whether it be online or offline, that you've taken part in since joining has really kind of made the biggest impact for you?
Yeah, I think I always find the trainings that we do on kind of people's behaviors and reading those kind of body language and reading people, I think sometimes we get so focused on what people are saying we forget to read the signs outside, or we're so focused on our emails or our messages or whatever. When we actually come to talking to people, we've kind of forgotten how to do it sometimes. And especially when you talk about during COVID and everything was online, and then when we got back to in person, it was kind of learning how to have those conversations again, and learning how to read a room again, and how to read people again, and knowing when to stop talking and when to listen and when to keep talking, or when to, when people are really, really engaged. I always find those trainings very, very interesting. And I think, again, like you said, for a lot of some of the newer, shyer members who kind of get a lot from that when it's kind of they're starting out on their kind of their journey, learning, meeting the people, just starting to get confident. What you said, whether it's the registration desk or standing up in front of a crowd, that's invaluable. The other side of it, then, of course, is like we all live on social media these days. We probably shouldn't, but we can't get away from it. I don't know. Maybe Twitter's like about to die a death, but we still have Facebook and Instagram. So, but I also like LinkedIn is it's such a powerful tool from a professional point of view. Um, it's like I could tell you straight out, like my last job came through LinkedIn. Like, do you know what I mean? And it's probably something I wouldn't have been, might have had a profile on it there a few years ago, but I wouldn't have known how to fine tune a profile, what to put in it, what kind of experience to put in, how to really use the lesser known tools, I suppose, that are there, or how to connect with the right people on LinkedIn. I found that very, very useful, and even now, you connect with people that you've never met before, and you might never meet, but you can bounce ideas off them. Just, it might be in the same industry, or you might be running some sort of event, and this guy was involved in JCI over in the UK, or whatever, and they ran a similar event, and then all of a sudden you get a conversation going, and I don't know, anything can stem from that, I suppose. But those would be the two in particular: social media, particularly LinkedIn, and as I said, anything to do with kind of people's behaviors and reading people. But as you said, it was funny. I suppose I was lucky to come in just prior to COVID and get that experience of doing the in person. Then when it moved all online, it was very different, a very different experience. But as you said, we adapted. We had to adapt. We had no choice, I suppose. But as you said, it opened up the wider organization to a lot more people. I think a lot of people, especially particularly newer members, mightn't have been as comfortable traveling off to a European conference or world conference halfway across the world. But the next thing, when it comes online, you have that virtual option. You can see all of those members from Asia, Europe, North America, wherever it is, and you can genuinely see people just chatting and having the crack. Obviously, you have the serious part of it there as well, but like just seeing that group of people just having that casual conversation as well, and seeing, as you said, it's not just JCI Mayo here, or it's not just JCI Ireland, where you go to Dublin or Galway or wherever for a couple of national events every year. It's such a big organisation, and the opportunities that brings is massive.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's, I suppose I'd been lucky enough to have attended some international events before the pandemic hit, but really I just grasped the opportunity when we were at home with nothing to do. It was really building on those connections. And while with JCI it's an international organization, it really just showed the connections that we even made online, that this year, that when things went back and we're back at European conferences or World Congress meetup, just meeting those people in person, it was like we've been friends for years. So it really just showed, JCI, it's just friends you haven't met yet, really. You can always just reach out if you were going even away on holidays to the local organisation where you might be going and just say, what's good to do here? I'm a JCI member, and quite often you might have a tour guide for the day. So it's really good building those connections that only help you like personally with friendships, but also like that you could meet anyone who might be able to help you professionally. But I agree, we've done a lot of LinkedIn trainings as well over the last few years, and an awful lot of members have actually said that they have progressed in their careers as a result of doing them, which is great to hear, that they were able to take the skills that they learned in JCI and really then apply it through their LinkedIn, to really kind of showcase what made them stand out in comparison to somebody else. So that's been great to hear. And I'm like you as well. I love all those kind of emotional intelligence, different personality type trainings. I know I was really fortunate to get to go to Sweden. It was in 2019 as well, actually, for their European Academy, which is a big leadership academy for all the incoming European local presidents. And we did this thing called like an insights discovery, and you got to learn kind of, what your color was, but your color stands for really what your traits are. So where your strengths and weaknesses are, and kind of where you sit in a team. So I actually learned so much about, how I work with other people. So sometimes you might find it difficult to work with some people, and I didn't understand why. And other times, then I couldn't understand why I used to be so precise in things, but then I realized it was just part of my traits and my personality. So it's incredible the amount of learnings across the board there that you get, from one organization. That's just worldwide. Completely agree. Kind of touching on kind of what we've both been saying there a little bit, from the LinkedIn training and that how that helped you. Would you say overall, since joining JCI, that it's helped you progress professionally? You've kind of touched that it has, but also personally, because you were someone, as I said, that came in with no fear of public speaking. You were quite a good project manager as well. So do you still think that it's helped you progress personally and professionally?
Oh, it definitely has. Like, I suppose, as I said, look, I had that little bit of experience with the likes of public speaking and that bit of project managing, but I was always very much uh, there has to be a plan, and I have to know what's happening. I have to know exactly, this is the plan, and it's going to go exactly like this. And I know every now and again, as we said, things are going to go wrong every now and again, but there's a plan B and there's a plan C, and there's always something. I think what JCI has really helped with is kind of, I won't say doing things on the fly, but being that little bit more relaxed, that everything doesn't always have to go that as the piece of paper says it has to go. I know Kira Kyo's a brilliant one for her extempore training. Like, I have no problem with public speaking when I have the speech learned off, and I know what I'm going to say, and I know the topic. But when you give me something that I have no idea what's coming up, or I'm not that confident with it, trying to talk for 2 minutes or whatever it is, out of nowhere, that wouldn't come as naturally, that kind of thing. Um, and then I suppose from the social side as well, I think what you get with JCI, and you mentioned the international aspect, and it's such an international organization, such a diverse membership, and kind of interacting with those different communities, those different groups, and learning how different people just interact with each other, the social cues, you know, not everyone is like us in Ireland where we can slag each other off, and we get it. You know what I mean? Or you can go to the pub and everything is fine. It's really, be it from the international events, or even here in Ireland, like we have such a diverse membership. It's great to have that exposure to so many different people, and like we even see it now on our national boards, our local boards. It's full of people from all over the world, and those new ideas coming in. It's all stuff that we can bring back. Like, I think we're very stuck in our ways here in Ireland sometimes, that we have, this is the way we do things. But then when these people come in and show us a new way of doing it, I think initially sometimes we can be a little bit, oh, hang on, no, that's not how we do it. But actually, when you, as I said, with JCI, we're very open to those kind of things, and you just let people run with these ideas, and then you say, actually, do you know what, this is a good idea. And you can, as I say, we can bring that back to our own events in JCI. But if it's a professional event at work, if it's some other personal event or whatever it is, it all brings back, and like, as I said, it's all learning. It's all learning, and I think from that side of things, JCI has definitely helped me progress, helped me develop further, and you know, as I said, I don't think I'd be where I am without JCI. It doesn't mean to say I wouldn't be somewhere else, but you know, without JCI, I wouldn't be where I am today, in a very content place, I suppose.
That's good to hear. And yeah, I think that is, I couldn't agree with you more. I think you learn so much about working with other people, and especially the fact it's such an international organization. You learn about different cultures, and it's definitely an education in itself, and one that, you can't get by reading a book. It's really from first-hand experience. So I know for myself as well, I was like you, and everything had to be planned. And if there's one thing I've learned this year, it's to learn how to roll with it. And I never thought I'd be the type of person that said I could roll with something. But I've had to learn that this year, and it's been a massive learning, but hugely beneficial one for me as well. That's really making a difference for me in my day-to-day work. So it's a good thing to get as well. So I think we've had similar, but very different, but similar, the way we came in and our strengths and weaknesses coming in, but similar experiences as well throughout. Kind of, I'm looking at the time now, so kind of to wrap it up, if you met somebody on the street tomorrow and they'd never heard about JCI, but they knew you were in it, why would you recommend that somebody within the age of 18 to 40 should join Junior Chamber International?
I think a lot of people look at JCI, and the obvious thing is, oh, you get all these training and you get all these connections and you get all this networking, and that's all great and it's all really important, and it really does develop you. For me, for any organization, no organization is the way it is without the people. Do you know what I mean? You can have as much training as you want, you can have as much brilliant events, but if you don't have the right people doing it, it doesn't pull off. And I think when you go to JCI events, whether it be in Mayo, whether it be a national event, whether you travel to Galway for one of their events, or Dublin or Cork, or wherever it is, anywhere you go, the people, there's always a big welcome for you. There's probably a drink waiting for you afterward as well, which always helps. um, and likewise, if I, as I said, I've only done the online international events, but that atmosphere, that open, that welcoming atmosphere, that just getting to know different people, different cultures, different ways of working, different ways of learning. It's you learn so much. I find that kind of informal learning, things you don't mean to learn, but you do as you go along. Is massive. And I think JCI, because it's such an international organization, it's such a diverse organization, you can learn more there than you would at your local, whatever it is, your local football club or your local drama group or whatever, because you're kind of working with your own people and you're seeing the same people all the time. Or JCI, if you go to 10 different events, you'll probably see 2 new people at every single one of them, and some of them even more. And every time you do meet those new people, you're learning something different, or you're even just meeting someone new, and you're getting more confident in whatever it is you're trying to do. So yeah, I think the people is the reason to stay. The training, the events, that's the reason you join, but the people is the reason you stay, I suppose, is the way I'd put it.
I love that. That's really nicely put, actually. And I always love on these kind of series hearing not only people's stories, but why they'd recommend someone else, because I think that's where you really discover why the members are still members, what's keeping them, and why they come back year after year. And I've no doubt that you'll attend an in-person international event soon. I know that, kind of with the time and when you joined, it wasn't really possible, and I've no doubt that you're going to absolutely love it when you do. We have a comment up there from Charlotte Murray, which says, "Well said. JCI widens your experience and your comfort zone." So I think all of us agree there in that one. And those of you might have heard from Shaz there. She was on the very first night. So thanks for joining us again tonight, Shaz. Keelan, thank you so much. I know how busy you are. You're incredibly busy. You're involved in so many organizations, so many community groups. I don't know how you do it all, but you always fit in the time for JCI to help out in any way you can. You've been a pleasure to work with all year, but in the last few years, you've always been a pleasure to work with. Thank you for taking the time out, especially so close to Christmas. And I hope that you enjoy the rest of your evening. We have a few more of these to go. So we're going to be joined tomorrow night as well by Min, who is probably the newest member of this series, but so many stories and such a great experience. So I'm looking forward to chatting with her tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. And then for the rest of the week, we have somebody on nearly every night. So I look forward to hearing everybody else's stories. Thank you again, Keelan, and I will say good night.
Thanks very much, Ollie.